Hi everybody, you're listening to the Khandaan podcast by the Podcast team, a bi-weekly podcast revisiting the movies of Aamir Khan, Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan.
Every show we pick a random year from 3 decades of collectively 300 films the Khans have done and let our listeners vote which movie we should talk about. So it's entirely up to you.
Pick a team, make a vote, take us down nostalgia lane, punish us, or make us reassess a movie we dismissed.
We love the Khans, most of us, sometimes. And we would love for you all to be part of our Khandaan, because when it comes to the Khans in Bollywood, nothing else really matters.
Welcome to Khandaan. My name's Asim. I'm joined with my co-host Chungu and Mungu.
Who's Chungu though?
We're going to put in the link to that KRK review that Asim is referencing right there, because everybody deserves to see it. Like, it is art.
I feel it's skilled film criticism. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point anymore. I will never be able to do what he did. And everything is pointless now. All podcast, all film analysis is dead. He killed it.
Single-handedly.
Yeah.
Like the way he mocked the background score is like fucking perfect, you know.
It's so good. And
I was about to tell Asim, to contact Shay and be like, put that as our intro music.
Yeah, because
it's so good that he doesn't even realize it.
Plus, it's also good because I don't watch KRK stuff, but I feel this movie. He reviewed Street Dancer 3, right? 3D, whatever it's called. That movie, I still haven't figured it out. But that's a movie that deserves mocking. And, I understand what he was trying to do. But, Sujoy, maybe let's do this first. Sujoy, you saw the movie, right? So let's get into this first part, right? How can you improve on KRK's review of that movie?
I don't think so I can, because this movie is meant for an audience like me, okay? Because I watch all the dance reality TV shows back in the day from, Judged by Mithun, and then Remo D'Souza became the next level, judge master. And he's created this almost like an extended universe, because there is a very fine line that crosses between the reality TV shows that he produces and this movie. And the characters all cross over. They have the same name as their real life counterparts.
So there's actually a Kekra and a Chungu Mungu? Or is that a joke?
I mean, yeah. So the dancer who plays the Kekra is called, his dancer name is Crocrose. Not even kidding. He's his intro act was, my name is Crocrose and I made it as a fusion of cockroach and crocodile.
Why? And these are people from
there
London.
There are dance crews from all over Mumbai who are in part of the movie as well.
No,
okay, I just want to point out here that the first ABCD, it was actually meant to be a sort of reward for the people that participated in these reality shows that were produced by Remo. So he was actually giving them a break, which is actually a thing. KRK just put another spin on it, but it was meant to be a positive thing that, Chungu Mungu actually got their shot finally after years of being on the periphery of Bollywood. So I just want to point that out.
And then it just went, he just kept on turning up that notch. As KRK rightfully points out, it's the Rajiv Gandhi Yojana Nigam or something.
Rozgar Yojana.
Oh, dear. And then, even by dance movie standards, this is terrible. You can watch this movie and tell, isi ne hi Race 3 banaya hai. The writing is terrible, and Prabhudeva speaks some really terrible dialogues in this movie. Everybody is like equally terrible. Like even Varun Dhawan is terrible in this movie. And the dance is very repetitive. Like if you are watching dance reality TV shows, there is no incentive to go to the cinema, pay your ticket, and watch the same kind of routine over and over again. So I don't know what they really wanted to.
I don't understand why Varun is in these movies. Like,
Yeah.
even I understand why he's in these movies.
I think he kind of has become a part of the dance fraternity in that way, and he kind of idolizes Remo D'Souza. And by this point, I think he is, I don't know, he's part of the extended universe that Remo has created. Even Prabhudeva, he doesn't need to do these movies, but I guess it keeps him relevant.
But we've been hearing all these blinds about how like Varun is now, like putting his head down and like strategizing over his career and everything. And
but this
doesn't seem like a smart career.
But I think this is what we were talking about last week when we were talking about the trailers, right? Ki Varun, tu kya kar raha hai, bhai? That's the question that came out of the whole discussion of last time. Ki I understand that Ranveer has like shaking him to his core. Like Varun had like a little bit of lead with Badlapur, and Ranveer just like is now miles ahead of him. But this is not where like.
Varun gets to do British accent in this movie, and it's hilarious. I mean, you have to see it to believe how awful it is. How awful it is. Like, I don't even know if he's really consciously parodying it or he's just terrible.
Because Shraddha Kapoor also does like a British accent sometimes as a joke, and that is also terrible. Like, I've seen it a few times and it's so bad. And I gotta say, I didn't know that they made Shraddha Kapoor a Pakistani. And I gotta say, guys, I know India and Pakistan have had their ups and downs. But when you have a fight with your friends and somebody kicks you in the balls and you say, guys, this is taking it too far. Making Shraddha Pakistani, guys, this is taking it too far. This is below the belt. You can't put this on us. Keep her for you guys.
It's too close to the bone, man.
Yeah. No face hits. Yeah, no kicking in the groin. Keep her. She's yours.
But also, like, I saw the song where Varun is having a existential crisis while dancing song.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I've gone on record and I've said that I like Varun. There's something very likable about him, and he's he's pretty good looking, whatever. But he needs to he needs to get his career together, because I don't know what the hell he's doing. But B, he also needs to think about his body and like what is the kind of body that he wants to have, because I agree it's a very impressively made body, but he's going that way of like, like where you're too worked out and you basically develop tits. And he's basically on that track right now, where he has like bigger tits than Shraddha. And I'm just like, you need to like dial back a little bit on the steroids and like, just try and like the way he looked in Kalank, actually, I really liked. But this is a bit too much.
Do you know that there was this song in... do you guys watch Flight of the Conchords a couple of years ago?
I used to, yeah.
There was this one song where Brit he was like angry and he started dancing in a warehouse about his feelings. That's what it sounds like when Varun is like angry expressing dancing, like, I have so many feelings, I'm gonna jump on this warehouse thing.
Yeah, so it kind of derives from like so in dance reality TV shows, there is this genre called contemporary or lyrical hip hop or whatever, and all of that is just doing dance routines where they are expressing their feelings. So it kind of like every single song or dance routine has to cater to one genre in this movie, and that's what they're trying to do. And it's so disjointed from the entire movie because, let's have Varun dance for uncle in this song, It kind of feels like that.
Oh, God.
It's a terrible movie.
Yeah, I think Varun, please do something. Have a chat with me. I'll give you some guidance because this is not going well. Yeah, and maybe he needs to go. Like, I think you're right, Amrita. He needs to maybe go down that Arjun Kapoor diet where he's looking a bit more chunkier, and I think that could actually work for Varun because he's too like shredded. But I think it also appeals to a certain type of people, right? Like people are going crazy about his Mr. Lele poster. So, yeah, what can you say, I mean, let's get into it. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, so we're going to be going quickly. We're doing a lot of trailers, and our main review is going to be PK. I'm also going to be reviewing Forgotten Army quickly, which is dropped on Amazon Prime. PK, why did we decide PK? I think all of us felt that we were being a bit harsh on Aamir on the last best of the decade, and also we felt that we didn't cover enough of his movies. And I don't know, I think when we were going through all of the movies, PK was like, we all really wanted to revisit that one, right? That's how it came about.
One of the reasons why we don't cover Aamir's movies as much is because there are so few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also true.
I thought you were going to give like a deeper analysis, but it's just a numbers game. It's just
Yeah, it is.
True. But yeah, I want to start first with this listener email, which I think is one of the sweetest things I have gotten since we've been podcasting. So it's from Chitranga from the UK. And she says, hello, Asim, Sujoy, and Amrita. I'm one of the biggest fans of your podcast. I'm a doctor working a very stressful job, and hearing your podcast sometimes twice or thrice for my favorite episodes like Tum Mere Ho definitely relieves my stress. I always laugh along with y'all. I have to say you're the best Bollywood podcast out there. I'm going to read out your email when you say that, right? But yeah, because I'm subscribed to 9 of them, but very few actually compare. And then just wanted to send some suggestions for some favorite crappy movies you could review. Maine Pyar Kyun Kiya by Sallujan, Chamatkar for SRK, Man for Aamir. Also wishing you guys a happy new year. Keep it up. Be more regular if you can. And a little. She also left a review on iTunes. I mean, this really, really made my day, guys. I sent this to you guys too, right?
Yes.
It's so sweet.
And I think it's a good template for every other listener that should send us nice emails like that. Because I log the bad ones and I keep thinking about them for a year, and then Amrita has to cheer me up and say, like, Asim, chor na yaar, chor, it's okay.
Asim is like sitting there making voodoo dolls every time he gets like a bad one. And then like he gets something like this, and then, it's lovely. It's always nice to be appreciated. So thanks. Thanks, Chitranga.
So yeah, we're definitely adding one of those 3 to the list. I think if you get such a nice email, we'll definitely review one of these. I think Maine Pyar Kyun Kiya even was close once for us to talk about, right? It was like in a poll or something like that.
Yeah.
But we'll do one of these 3 for sure. But yeah, let's get the show started. There's been quite a few trailers that came out. So let's start with the first one. I think the one people talked about the most is and I don't even know how again to call this movie. Is it Love Aajkal or is it Love Aajkal 2020? Is it Love Aajkal 2? Is it...
What the hell is going on? Huh? चल क्या रहा है तुम्हारे stupid bloody mind में? तुम मुझे reject करते हो. You refuse to sleep with me. और तब से ऐसे मेरा पीछा कर रहे हो.
तुम ऐसे ही कोई भी लड़की नहीं हो. कैसे एक्सप्लेन करूं कि तुम स्पेशल हो?
ये भी मैं बताऊं. तो तुम क्या करोगे?
नहीं मतलब.
हाँ बताओ मतलब. क्यों पीछा कर रहे हो तुम मेरा?
मैं आज के बाद आपका पीछा नहीं करूँगा.
मैंने कहा तुम मेरा पीछा मत करो.
नहीं.
तो फिर?
हाँ मैं गलत हो जा तू भी आजा करे.
What is it called?
It is तुम मुझे तंग करने लगे हो.
Oh my God, Sujoy.
Oh dear. That is already a meme. I'm so happy. Like the day the trailer dropped, people were already making memes out of it. It's just, I love fucking meme culture, man.
The laziest thing that I have seen in years, I have to say. Like, it's like, I'm just going to use the same music. I'm going to use the same title. I'll even hire the daughter of the guy who was in the original film because I can't be bothered. Like, wow. Kya story hai?
Wow, क्या acting है. And seriously, I think the main trailer dropped, and I don't get it how Kartik Aaryan keeps getting casted.
He really is like negative space.
Guys, I have to admit something. Last time, last time I admitted I'm on team Nora Fatehi, right? I did that, right? People were shocked. Artik Karyan is kind of like convincing me.
Shut up.
I swear to God.
Just shut up.
You know what happened?
I will book a ticket and I will come to London and then I will give you one chapad.
No. You know what happened? There was this Bollywood interviews they're just trying every weird format to do some freshen up. And there was this one with Rajiv Masand eating food with Artik Karyan. And
okay,
I don't know. I kind of I felt something worked. Maybe it was just the food that appealed to me, but there was just something about that dynamic of taking away out of him being super ultra switched on and dancing and being I don't know. It's just man, I need to start pronouncing his name correctly. That's how. I
show him some respect.
Yeah. And I also remembered that when I watched the only movie I have actually watched, Sonu Ki Tatti, I was there is something to him. And I don't think, because none of us have actually watched any movies of his, have we? You watched Luka Chuppi maybe, did you? Sujoy?
I watched Sonu Ki Tatti and I watched Sonu Ki Tatti and I've watched the Pyar Ka Panchnama movies.
Okay. But
and
there's something compelling about him.
Note.
But there's something compelling about him on screen. I don't know what it is. I'm not as passionate about as I am Nora Fatehi, but I don't know. I'm getting there because I was thinking maybe I should start pronouncing his name correctly. What I was very disappointed here was Sara Ali Khan in this. Because this trailer starts with her shouting something like, "Why don't you sleep with me?" And then they had the "Tum mujhe tang karne lag gaye ho" dialogue, and I was like, "What is up with Sara Ali Khan?" Because I think there was a lot of buzz and excitement that she's the one that has the most acting chops when Kedarnath came out. But I feel Kedarnath didn't make as many, a big of a bang as it maybe should have done for a launch. And then she was a nothing in Simha. And then now this trailer, her voice modulation is all over the place. So it got me a bit worried about her. I don't know. What do you guys think about Sara Ali Khan in this trailer?
Amrita can tell more. I have zero things to contribute about this really nothing trailer.
Yeah, that's actually true. The trailer was nothing. It's basically just a rehash of all your favorite music from that older film, and then it's basically we were having this conversation, right, Asim, on Twitter about how Imtiaz Ali basically got divorced from his wife, and it's his ability to make good movies just vanished. So maybe she had a better role, she was a sounding board. Maybe she was giving him better ideas based on if this is an example of the ideas that he comes up with by himself. Sarah, I don't wish her any harm, but this is a bad trailer and she is bad in it.
Yeah.
And it's sad because she's every time I see her, I just think of Amrita Singh, her mom, and there were places in this, the places where she's being all shouty and stuff. It kind of reminds me of Amrita, actually. But the sad part about that is that Amrita was very much like a firecracker. When she was on screen, you couldn't take your eyes away from her. She had that it. And she specialized in those kinds of roles, the Muphat, Mane Se Tez kind of roles.
Yeah.
And to see Sarah try and play that kind of a role and then fail this badly, it's just not a good look.
Yeah, and I think also the problem is we're going to always go back to Geet from Jab We Met, right? It's like that character is going to overshadow all of Imtiaz and Ali until he starts to create some kind of new character. And I feel the characters after Geet, the female character, have had a sort of meanness in them. And I feel this trailer has a bit more of it. Like Geet had that balance of being assertive but sweet. And I think the pendulum has swung too much towards just being mean. And I don't know, this really, like, I don't know, it didn't work for me. And the other actress that's playing it doesn't even get, like, much to do in the trailer, where I think in the first Love Ajkal, you had I don't remember the name of the model he got from Brazil to play but she was sweet and it was kind of a surprise and people didn't even know. But that was the phase where he was getting like foreign actresses that didn't even speak Hindi and then made them act in the Hindi movies. That phase is over. But I don't feel he presented the other actress really well. I don't even see her face in the trailer, so it's kind of like a weird one. I do like the cinematography of one of the songs where it's kind of running towards the camera. But we'll probably see when when the song comes out what it's going to be. It seems very Wallare Walla the way they're walking towards the camera to bring that one back. Let's see. Go from daughter to father, maybe. Jawani Jaane Man. That trailer also dropped.
शेर हूं मैं शेर और शेर तब तक राजा होता है जब तक अकेला रहता है.
Stars Saif Ali Khan, but then also Pooja Bedi's daughter, right? That's who she is?
Yeah.
Smart move.
And Tabu.
Smart move to change her name to Alia F, because I didn't catch it for like 3 weeks. Like that she was the daughter of somebody. So maybe that's a good way to evade the nepotism ball that gets, dropped in your lap. But
are we pronouncing her name as Alia or is it Alea? Because I think it used to be Alia, but then I guess she didn't want to get mixed up with Alia Bhatt. So I don't know if her name is pronounced as Alea or Alia. And I haven't seen any of the interviews, so I don't really know.
Clearly, I'm not the person to ask these questions to Amrita.
This will be like the one time where Asim like says the name correctly and like everybody's like, is that it? Like we don't really know.
Of course Tabu playing like a bourgeois bohemian kind of character, which is fun. What did you guys think of the Jawani Jaane Man trailer?
I mean, I love Tabu. I'll watch Tabu in anything. Even if Tabu comes for like 5 minutes, I'll watch that film because Tabu's in it for 5 minutes.
That's how they got you for Bharat, right?
Yes, pretty much. and then she outacted everybody in that film in that like 2 minutes that she was there.
Yeah, that damn kurti, man, it still gets you. God damn it, Tabu. I do like the Ole Ole remix, I gotta say. Like, I'm not like a huge fan of remixes, but I feel, I don't know, it just kind of, it worked for me here.
Also it's kind of smart to bring it back. The context like here really makes the song shine as well.
Yeah,
because it's his original song and then he's playing somebody similar, but somebody who does not want to deal with aging and all of that and coming to terms with that. But at the beginning of that Ole Ole plays, it's a smart move.
But you know what I kept thinking when I saw that song? Do you remember like a few years ago, maybe a couple of years ago, Ibrahim, Saif's son, was releasing these Snapchat or Insta stories where he would all the young Bollywood star kids were doing it, the male ones, where they would all be like shirtless in the bathroom and then they would be like doing these different 90s songs from like Shah Rukh and Saif and Salman and stuff. And Ibrahim did one of Ole Ole. And that was, I think, one of the first times that we saw Ibrahim. And he looked exactly like Saif, and then he was doing that thing. So that's the only thing that I was thinking about, which is, if Saif ever found out, like, it's not like he would care about my opinions precisely, but I bet he'd care about like how he was getting replaced in people's thoughts by like a younger version of himself. Saif is that guy. Saif is like totally that guy with that vanity.
Yeah, it was cool that they brought the leather jacket back too. I kind of like it. I'm a leather jacket kind of guy. I appreciated the attention to detail. It does kind of bring him back to his kind of cocktail kind of Saif, right? Though, and I thought we'd gotten enough of that, but I don't know. Yeah. The other problem I have with this trailer is, and this is something that also Sujoy pointed out to me, if this makes money, we might get another Jackie Bhangnani movie.
Did I?
Yeah, you pointed this out to me. Because he's the producer. He's producing the movie.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so...
But he's not in the movie, right?
No. He's not, but you know this guy, right? He's not going to quit. If he gets money, he's going to make another movie.
No, he can make all the movies he wants as long as he doesn't act in them. Like, my problem with him is his acting, not the fact that he's producing.
But Saif has also been like on a press tour lately, and it's not been going great for him, I think. So he did the reaction to the Love Aajkal trailer, which he pretty much gave the same reaction that we did, which I think like he's like, my trailer is better, which is true. It's probably going to be a bit...
And then he keeps pointing out, but she's my daughter.
Yeah, like, she is my daughter, like just kind of confirming.
Like, no, like congratulations to her, or at least getting that part right.
Oh God, I watched that and I had Amrita's voice in my head, like he's such a petty bitch. Like that's the thing.
But he is though, which is why like I was telling people, like it gave me like an entirely new appreciation for Saif and Bebo's marriage, because I remember like when they got married and everybody was trying to be like, oh, like Bebo, like she's such a dehati and like she's marrying this Nawab and everything. And I remember even then thinking like, because they're like fundamentally the same kind of like preening parrots, and it makes so much sense to me that the two of them got together. And
like Sham ko 4 baje chai pe, they're just like taking out their notes of the day and just discussing how everybody in the industry is a bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then he did the second interview. Was that Film Companion, or who was that the second one?
Yeah, Film Companion with Anupama Chopra.
Yeah, which I thought that was a really brave interview, I must say. So it was kind of about,
but not on his part though, because he was just thrown away with the questions and he was just stuck there.
Because there's been a lot of rumors
in silence.
There's a lot of rumors that Ajay Devgan is really pissed off at Saif for his comments regarding Tanhaji, and because I get Ajay Devgan's point, like in a way, right? Like because Saif's career is not going well, he gave him this role, and it's a massive success. But Saif being Saif, and also the politics of Tanhaji, they are questionable, clearly, right? And this is something I've pointed out in a thread ages ago, that it's a jingorical, and it is. And it being a massive success in India doesn't mean anything. It's still a jingorical for what that movie is. And I thought, Saif had some valid points to make about that it is dangerous to make movies like this. And it is a dangerous way, artists are not standing up. But then the problem is that he himself is so... is the word spineless, or is it the word, he is still acting in it? It just seemed like he's still like a teenager trying to figure out where he stands, or like he's not... Yeah. Amrita, sure, what do you want to say?
No, he's not spineless. He's entitled. That's what he is. He's privileged. And he's basically like doing that middle portion of the interview where, and I was telling Asim the same thing, that the only reason that he was that honest is because he was with Anupama.
Yeah.
And Anupama's people like him, I've seen him be like, I'll say this for Saif, like he never, like he doesn't bother to lie a lot in his interviews, generally speaking, because I don't think he thinks people are worth it, like his energy to like lie. But when he's with people like Karan and Anupama and stuff, like when people he considers like him, he lets his guard down and he becomes a bit more self-reflective and he becomes a little bit more honest. And I've seen that before on Coffee with Karan, where Karan just basically asked him, oh, do you, like, he had just gotten the divorce from Amrita, and Karan was like, people say that, you make a big show about being a dad. And he was like, yeah, of course I do. Like, and that's when people are like accusing me of abandoning my family. Obviously, I want to show people that I'm being a good dad. And that's why I keep bringing my children out. And he was just like super honest about it. And I think this is like a variation on that theme where he's like talking to Anupama. And Anupama, I've said this before, where she seems to be a little bit beaten down by the fact that, the industry is pretty much very much
right-wing conservative.
Yeah, like they're complicit, right? And like whatever's happening in India right now. And like she's sort of like, you can see that that's not her politics, but also like she makes her bread and butter by Bollywood and with her husband. And so she's sort of like, trying to survive the best she can as well. And so she and Saif are like having this conversation, and Saif basically had this moment where he was just examining his choices and like why he is complicit, and how like problems that affect 99% of the country do not affect him, because he is not just, a Bollywood star, but he's also like, he's Khandani Reis, and so he has that kind of buffer. And I get it. Like, I get what that means for somebody like him to look outside and see like people are suffering, but also like look inside his amazing apartment where he's married to like, Kareena Kapoor, who's like, the heir to the Kapoor family, name and reputation and wealth, and then be like, yeah, like my life is good, it's sorted, and then sort of like try and see how like what it means for him to be complicit in this sort of manner. And sort of like admit that, he's just basically being selfish by saying like, that's a really good role and he knew how to play it and he wanted to play it. So he said yes. And then in the larger cultural, in a sort of cultural context, like what does that moment of selfishness mean? And then he was sort of like coming to like terms with it. So it was an interesting piece of interviewing.
I also like that he pointed out that, he did kind of, that he said that this is not history at all. I've studied history, and whatever we portrayed in Tanaji is not history, but this is the way the country has gone, and that's why we are making these movies, right? And he's just not, he hasn't figured out his place in that yet. I thought that was very brave, and he even mentioned that he'd talked about it with the filmmakers, that this was not correct, and that they said this is going to sell, and that I thought was a very, very brave thing to say. And then
also the kind of the despair in his voice of where India is heading, and whether the idea of a secular state was right in the first place, and how it makes him feel in today's political climate. That was, if you go back and reflect it, like a privileged person who's sitting on a high horse, even he thinks of whether it was all right in the first place is deeply concerning. What does that mean in terms of a common man who's living in India, who is definitely not Hindu, or Brahmin,
And even like the way I got it, again, I'm Pakistani, so the way it almost felt that he understood why Pakistan split up, and I think even that notion of that idea is very, very brave, to just even say those words, and that part I really found very refreshing and very brave of him. But he is already, I'm seeing a lot of memes going backwards. Even the people that would be liberal or, aware of ideas are also calling him out for his privilege and his entitledness. So he didn't make anybody happy, it seems like. But I thought it was quite refreshing, that conversation. So I appreciated it. Even though he's a spoiled brat, but that's who he is. That's also why we kind of appreciate these people sometimes, or they're the way they are on screen. Same thing with Kareena Kapoor, for example, as well.
I enjoy both Bebo and Saif, and I enjoy them precisely for being these kinds of people. Yeah. I'm not even going to pretend. Like, there are a lot of people who like to give Saif extra credit because he reads a book. That's literally it. Saif reads a book. He read what everybody else, it's not even something incredibly obscure or philosophical or anything. He just reads things that are on the bestseller list. And everybody is like, wow, wo na kitabein padhta hai. And they get really mad when he says stupid shit because he's not a super intellectual or anything. I don't know how you would follow Saif Ali Khan's career over the years and be like, oh, he's one supreme jnani, Sant Baba. He's just a human being. It's just that he's not completely shallow and he's not consumed by just movies. He has an interior life apart from that, and I think people forget that and then they get really mad about it. But he's not wrong in any of the things that he said in that interview, including the fact that the concept of India as a country is a recent invention, which is true. India and Pakistan are equally young. They're not as civilizations maybe. That's where people don't think enough. They confuse things like civilizations with a country. A country is not the same. So what he said was absolutely on the money. He's not wrong at all.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on because I know we have a lot of different kind of listeners, and not everybody appreciate our chapter of wokeness in our podcast all the time. So,
and we are talking about PK as well.
Yeah, we are exactly. So you got a lot of that still coming.
सरकारें ब्रिटानिया की छतरी हमारे सर पे हमेशा कायम रहे। अरे छतरी तो इन्होंने हमें बना रखा है। फट गई तो उठा कर दे दिया जापानियों के हाथ में।
There must at this stage be no thought of sparing the troops or saving the population.
So I watched The Forgotten Army. It's a 5-episode show on Amazon Prime, directed by Kabir Khan. Created by Kabir Khan. Amrita, Sujoy, did you get a chance to watch any of those episodes or not really?
No. I mean, I got a chance, but I didn't watch it.
Okay. We actually got screeners weeks ahead and none of these two wanted to even touch it. I kept like, do you want a password? Do you want a password? And like, silence. Lambi khamoshi.
Left him on red.
Literally. But Amazon has been doing the utmost for this series. I have to say, they've made more of a push for this series than any other series, I think, to the point where people are getting pissed off at their marketing. It's just leave me alone.
Yeah, and they've also
because today is Republic Day, isn't it? So they wanted to make it for that deadline for people to sit down and watch this.
Yeah.
I mean, I will watch it. It's not like I won't watch it. Anyway.
Listen to my thoughts and then decide if you're going to watch this because it might change. And also, by the way, Amazon announced 14 new Indian shows that they're doing and they all look amazing in that trailer that they cut. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it. All of them are wow.
I did look at that really swankily cut trailer and it looked really appealing, yeah.
Yeah, and I think even Abhishek is still not in there, and so even that show is still covered. So Amazon is really focusing on India more so than even Netflix is doing, which is quite a at least there's a clear strategy there, right? So yeah, Forgotten Army, that's what we're talking about. It's about It's about a story that I had no idea about. Like, I didn't know this ever happened. And it's about the Indian National Army, which were like 50,000 Indian prisoners of war by the Japanese who turned against the British Empire for fight them for British independence. This happened like 42, 43 before India Pakistan gained independence. So Kabir Khan had actually made a documentary about this years ago. And that was kind of his calling card into Bollywood, that documentary. I wasn't able to find the documentary, although I tried to, search for it. If anybody knows where it's available, I would actually love to watch it. And it's clear that Kabir is very passionate about this subject. And I also understand what you're saying, that they're pushing this for Republic Day, because it does have a very strong sense of nationalism, but in a positive way, without... we're fighting the British, who are truly evil, and within the first episode, it is shown how terrible and how evil they are, and it just feels refreshing that it's not against Pakistan or against Muslims or against historical Muslims. We're going against, our common enemy, which was the British Empire. So that was it almost feels refreshing, because it's been such a long time ago that they were the bad guys. And what I also really liked is it's shot a lot in 1943 Singapore, which I just visited Singapore. So it was kind of cool to see Raffles Place in 43 and all that kind of thing. And that is really cool. And I really liked the performance by Sunny Kaushal, who's Vicky Kaushal's brother, and he's playing kind of Colonel Sodhi, who's kind of the main Indian guy, and he's really, really good. And I watched Uri like a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm watching this. So both of these brothers are like very much into the army whole thing. So that's kind of cool. The positives are that so that's the positives. The negatives, which are many, many, many more. The whole look of the show is feeling very like Google ad. Those Google ads where, like an old Pakistani guy calls like an old Indian guy, and they share about this, before partition thing, and then they send mithai to each other. That's the entire look of the movie. And it also, like, the actors that they're using are very they look very like TV actors. They don't look like cinematic actors in a way. I'm trying to
So I will translate what Asim means by it. They are not pretty enough.
They are not pretty enough. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. But even like the old guy, he looks very he's not bringing the fire in a way. The younger actors are terrible. Because the show goes from modern era and it flashbacks to 1943, and every time it comes back to the modern era, you want to punch everybody in there because they're so grating and so annoying. There's this the Amar, so it's the young guy that wants to he's like a privileged, entitled millennial character who he's just going into everywhere, he wants to be a war photographer, and he has no sense of where he is or the local culture in Myanmar or Burma, and that part doesn't work. They also seem to be using a lot of fake Japanese people, and that looks weird. And the other thing is, the CGI is so bad, because sometimes it looks that Amazon spent a lot of money, and sometimes it looks like they spent no money. So it's like either they have these grand battles where there's slow motion and bombs exploding and there's lots of extras, and then suddenly there's very cheap CGI. And you're like, whoa, what happened there? So it's kind of going back and forth there. They also focus a lot on the romance, which is terribly cringy. It's horrible, like Tube Light level. And I'm wondering about Kabir Khan as a filmmaker after this, to be honest. Is Kabir Khan Bajrangi Bhaijaan Kabir Khan, or is that just he got lucky with that one? Or the real Kabir Khan is really the Tube Light Kabir Khan? And this seems to be more towards Tube Light, and that worries me, because I think when we discussed it last episode, we were like, he's the one that, balanced those sensibilities, and, he has a great grasp of what he's doing. And Forgotten Army kind of like, erases all of those positives that we were thinking about. But it is 5 episodes. You can binge through all of it in one sitting. And it also has that structure where it feels like it's one movie re-edited in 5 episodes. So it doesn't end with a cliffhanger all the time and stuff like that, or it seems that they edited the cliffhanger sometimes. So it's an odd show. I don't know if I can fully wholeheartedly recommend it to people, but I watched 3 episodes. I still have 2 to go. So if it's really good, I'll change my opinion and let you guys know. But it's streaming now on Prime if you guys are interested. Sujoy, you're not interested whatsoever in this?
No, I don't think so. By the sounds of it, I don't think I'll be. I'd rather watch Picard.
I saw the pilot and it's really good.
I can't wait for Picard. I'm so excited. Amrita, does that make you change your opinion, or does that make you still interested in watching it?
No, I mean, I'll watch it at some point. Like, at least the pilot episode, I'll watch it at some point.
You know what? It is a good show to watch with your dad. It's like a watch with your dad kind of show. Although, wait, there is kind of a horrific sexual assault scene in the first episode. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know. This show has given me more questions than answers. And also, I wish somebody had watched it so we could get into it a little bit more. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to our main review, which is PK.
अरे पहचाने नहीं काम का, हैं? हम पीके हूँ पीके.
नमूना समझते हो ना? सैंपल था वो. गलतियां सुधारने की आदत थी उसे. हेडलाइट सी आंखें थी और फ्लाइंग सॉसर जैसे कान. उसके सतरंगी कपड़े और उसका अतरंगी डांस. पान देखते ही मुंह में पानी आ जाता था. कहता था शहर के हर ब्रिज पर होते हैं एटीएम. जितने पैसे चाहिए निकाल लो. और हर सुनसान गली में होती है कपड़ों की दुकान. जो पसंद आए पहन लो.
Yeah. So, directed by Raju Hirani, starring Aamir Khan, Anushka Sharma, Sushant Rajput Singh, one or the other. I'm still not sure. Came out in 2014, which honestly seems like a lifetime ago. How is time moving so fast that this already feels like a really, really long time ago?
It's been so long that I forgot that this is a movie in which Anushka has her extra special lips.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I booted it up and I looked at Anushka and I was like, holy shit, yeah, that's what she did to her face. Yeah. I forgot.
Yeah, this was a rough time for Anushka, right? This was not a good time for her. So I think she had the Coffee with Karan appearance, and then she did this movie came out and she did the Bombay Velvet thing, and it looks really weird. I'm glad for her that it's all settled down again. So 2014, and I had also forgotten how much this movie was closely linked to Oh My God, OMG, which came out 2 years before. Because it really is dealing with a lot of the same topics. And I sent a tweet out yesterday that, we're watching this, and so many people came back, and it became pretty much a fight between, on my Twitter timeline, between people saying PK is better, OMG is better. So maybe this is kind of a good starting point. Sujoy, man, because you and me were discussing about, OMG didn't leave such a big mark on me like PK did.
No.
Where do you stand on OMG versus PK?
We already. Well, I already tweeted this to you that I haven't seen OMG in a very long time, But that movie had some things that left me really underwhelmed, especially Mithun and Akshay Kumar. And like it kind of felt like a very... it kind of felt like a theatrical play rather than like a cinematic story, and PK had like grander things and bigger ideas that it wanted to tell, and in that respect I think PK achieved more as a movie than OMG, and I definitely prefer PK to OMG.
After our chat, I actually rewatched OMG last night, at least like the main scenes, just because I'd forgotten a lot about it. Amrita, what do you think? OMG versus PK, where do you stand there?
Yeah, like Sujoy said, it's been a really long time since I saw OMG, so I can't really speak to it. But I do remember that OMG had a more lecturing tone to it, which I didn't appreciate at the time.
Right. So because I watched them, I think there's definitely similarities between them, right? Both are asking questions about our ways of living within religion, like in a religious society, and where place for religion versus tradition is, and especially the religious acts that and the culture that we perform around it versus faith, right? So both have that. Both also have a supernatural element to it to a certain degree, where Aamir here is kind of an alien, figuring out what religion is as an outsider, whereas a supernatural element in OMG comes in much later in the second half, where Akshay is the incarnation of Shiva, Lord Shiva, I think.
Krishna, I think.
Is it? Oh, sorry. Shiva is the character that's in the bathroom with Aamir, right? That's yeah. Okay. So which was the big controversial scene. PK had tons of controversy, but was a massive hit. OMG had no controversy, as much as I remember, and was also a big hit. But the main thing that I found between watching those two back to back is that PK still leaves you with questions regarding faith and religion, whereas OMG reinforces that there is indeed a God to the point that he actually shows up. So I think people that are into religion would appreciate OMG more because it does validate what they feel, that, there is a God and he will come and help you, but all of these traditions that we've kind of created around, those are useless or pointless, or they don't work, it's not real faith. But when you have real faith, God will actually show up to help you. Whereas PK has none of that. There is no God that shows up to help anybody. And even at the end, it's like, this is fake, but, they give the idea that there is a real God, but, we're not reaching him or he's not reaching us. So they do kind of deviate, both of them at that point.
I think the main difference is that in Hirani's PK universe, as we speak, PK is an alien, so the concept of having a divine creature and organized, the main difference is that OMG talks about religion, and PK here talks about organized religion as the evil. Organized religion being what Raju Hirani describes as "quote unquote" wrong number, and the evils around it, and how people use it to their own advantage, and where he also gets to address how faith is important and why people who have some sort of a belief system and where they want to channel their inner anguish and push it towards something that they can hold responsible for, or hold that accountable for all their worries, and where they can install their trust and belief, and all of that is all good. But when people try to channel that for their own benefit and try to take advantage of the needy and those who are in distress, that is wrong. And PK does question that whole notion of whether it be babas and priests or how the Catholic Church works, or all of those wrongs are being addressed from the eye of an outsider who is completely new to this world. And also when we do find a new species like PK, who is an alien from another universe, how does that coexist with our notion of what is divine? That is completely, it is science fiction. So when science exists, religion has to conflict with it. And that is beautiful. And I think that's why I find PK's ideas more appealing, or more open for debate, rather than OMG, which is preaching you and which is talking to you rather than with you.
I think what also, I feel PK is a bit more fearless in some of the topics that it broaches, whereas OMG is, what OMG does do, it because it's taking on religion, it takes on all religions to a certain degree, right? When he's like in the courtroom, you have Mithun, but you then also have an imam and you also have a priest, right? So they're all there. Whereas PK, like, it was interesting because when Mithun is a fiery, like accusing Paresh Rawal, he's accusing him of being a Nastik, which is a atheist, right? If I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. Wherein in PK, when Tapasvi Baba, I think it's Tapasvi. Is it Tapasvi? What's the name of the priest? Yeah. Tapasvi ji accuses Aamir's character PK. He calls him Parvez Khan. Right? PK Parvez Khan to nahi hai. So it becomes about Aamir being a Muslim. And then also there's a whole betrayal of Sarfaraz, who Sarfaraz is Pakistan, basically. He's the embodiment of Pakistan. Sarfaraz dhoka nahi dega. The whole thing, dhoka dega nahi dega. So it does veer towards more of, what's going on in India towards, Muslims and Pakistan more than OMG does, where it becomes more of an idea about religion as a whole. So it does deviate there too, which I feel like when I went back to watch PK, it reminded me that in those 6 years we've had, PK was one of those first shots that the conservative right wing took against Bollywood. And there was so much controversy, like Aamir had to come and kind of explain, and Raju Hirani had to come and explain that they didn't want to hurt any sentiments. But nobody got hurt, right? Nobody got, but after that, it was Padmavat, where violence was the next step, right? And it started actually that they started showing up at film sets and started beating up filmmakers, and, actual threats were going on in live television. And it felt like in those 6 years, that change had happened very, almost in PK, it still seemed we could have a debate about these ideas, where in 6 years later, violence was the answer to the debate. What do you think of it?
No, in PK, it's a joke, right? Like when Boman and Rani's character is talking about how he has a trishul in his ass. Yeah. He's basically, it's a joke, you laugh at it. But cut to Padmavat, and Sanjay Leela Bhansali is actually getting beaten up on the sets of his film. Yeah. So it's funny because I was watching this film, and I honestly it's so it's classic Hirani storytelling. It doesn't it has these big ideas, but it doesn't really try and go any deeper than it needs to. Where the stakes are not if this was a movie about an actual Muslim guy in India who had lost his memory and then was trying to make sense of it, the stakes would have been completely different. But because it's an alien, you can just sort of get away with, you can sort of skate away with it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So and even then, and it's funny because all that time, people kept saying, there was still a contingent of us who were talking about how the reaction to movies like this is you can't just say hurts our sentiments, and start putting
restrictions on art and this is a thing that has been going on not just for like 5 or 6 years. It's been going on for years and years and years. Like I remember it really gathering force, I think, during MF Hussain.
Or even before that, like the first conscious memory that I have of such an event happening was when Deepa Mehta's Fire was released.
Right.
And all the cinemas were shut down. Or even Bombay or Bandit Queen.
Yeah.
But yeah. Go for it. Sorry.
So I mean, those were like, but you know, like when they attacked the sets of Water, do you remember? Like, like they wouldn't allow Water to be made with its original cast. You know, like Shabana Azmi had shaved her head and everything, and they were like ready to shoot, and then
what's her name?
Nandita Das.
Nandita Das had to drop out, and Lisa Ray was recast, and they had to shoot it in Sri Lanka. It's
yeah. So when that whole thing happened, like, you know, like those were still like outliers, you know, they didn't happen on a regular basis. But then the thing is, like, that's a problem with outliers, you know, like you let one thing happen and then another thing happens based upon that. And then all of a sudden it becomes this cascading effect. And then all of a sudden you're here in 2020 where people can't say anything, can't make the movies that they make. Like everybody is just terrified of saying anything.
Yeah. So I was watching the movie, and you know, I was writing down on my notes, this movie cannot be made in India 2020. And then I look at the release date, it's December 2014, and Narendra Modi had come into power in May 2014. So probably they were not as organized as they were in the later years. So it makes sense for PK to have just scraped through, you know. And
it's such a, you know, like it's not a film that really takes like extreme positions. It's not a radical film by any stretch of the imagination. It's your classic Hirani film.
Yeah, he even wraps it up in his comfort zone, you know, catchphrases like what's Jadoo Ki Jhappi and all is well is wrong number here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think the big controversial scene was that where he's chasing up the actor that's playing Shiva, right? That was the big controversial scene. The thing that I have now rewatching it, and my question was it worth it? Was that scene worth all the trouble? Because there are certain moments in this movie that I'm like, you could have cut this part out. Like, this is not essential, and it's adding more to the movie, to the length. I must say, when I started it in my mind, I felt this was like a 3-hour movie, but it's actually 2 hours, 20 minutes, which actually, I was thinking I would split up the viewing in 2 times, but then I just watched the whole thing because it was quite delightful, to be honest. Like, it was so funny and it was so good, but there was definitely certain segments that, for example, the Lord Shiva scene, and then also the whole romantic track between Anushka and PK.
Sushant.
Yeah, no, not Sushant. The PK one. That he starts to fall in love with her, which I was like, I don't think this was necessary in that way. So there were a few.
I agree the movie's a little too long and it needed more editing. But I would disagree that people make their decisions based on whether like this would piss off people. Like, I think, like, that's what I was trying to say. Like, we spin our own straitjackets, like, slowly. Like, that is basically the end game of any kind of oppressor, in which they don't have to do the work. We do their work for them by putting ourselves within a straitjacket for fear of what they will do if we don't do that.
Yeah.
And I, like, that is not something that I'm on board with, but I do agree that, you know, like, I put on this film and for some reason I'd forgotten that it was 2.5 hours long. Yeah. So I thought it was like going to be like a breezy 90 minutes. And then I was just like, oh, but then like But then it wasn't bad. Like you said, like I actually sat through the whole thing. Like I did fast forward through some of the songs. I will admit.
I gotta say, I think we spoke about this again on the last episode where I said Raju Hirani doesn't have good music, but I felt this was actually pretty decent music in comparison to all of his other movies. I thought this was kind of okay because I love Turkey Chokro.
Yeah.
That is
I like that too.
It's so cool, and I gotta say that is like one of the best cameos, like in like Sanjay Dutt appearing there, and the way he brings it, and the dancing that works for Sanjay, who's not a great dancer, and then PK doing those dances because he doesn't understand still what he's doing. He can't talk. Bhagwan Hai Kahan, Sonu Nigam just belting it out, you know. And then even the other one, Love is a Waste of Time. Again, because Sonu is singing it, I mean, 3 kind of good, decent songs is already more than I expected Hirani's soundtrack to be. So I was like, wow, maybe I should have taken that statement back. But I can't remember any song from Sanju, so he went back to, you know, having bad music in his movies. So it was kind of cool that he had this movie is like Hirani started with Sanjay Dutt. Then he went to Aamir, and then you have the cameo from, you know, Ranveer at the end, where it's kind of like his whole career in this movie condensed. Like all of the actors are in this. Controversial opinion that I want to hear Amrita's opinion about, because I feel this way. This might be Aamir Khan's best performance. What do you think, Amrita?
No.
No?
I know. Actually, you know...
You don't want to admit it is.
I loathe it when Aamir gets all gimmicky. Like, I hate it. I just don't like it. Like, I like Aamir when he's in, like, movies like Talash, you know, or like Sarfarosh, or like, where he's just like, or even if he's being a brat and something like Dil Chahta Hai is fine. But like the moment he puts on like an accent or like he tries to be funny, I'm just like, I just want to give you one slap right now and like slap that accent right out of your mouth. But
was the accent not good? I mean, I don't know the accent, but to me it sounded really good.
I mean, the accent is fine. The accent is fine, but it's like an annoying accent, and it's like a comedy accent. That's what he's putting it on. Yeah. And I mean, I don't like comedy accents, first of all. I really don't like it when like Aamir puts it on and just like, stop it. But it's that register that like all the Khans have it. It's not just Aamir. Like all 3 of the Khans go into this comedy routine thing. Salman is the only one that I've seen who can sort of pull it off. But like, oh my God, when Shah Rukh and Aamir do their comedy uncle routines, I get violent, man. But the only reason why he gets away with it in this movie is because the movie is structured around it. And so they're like, okay, fine. So he's an alien, teak hair. So I'm just like, fine. Like I hold on to it. But no, I do not think this is his best performance by a long shot. But I do think it's a good performance. It is a good performance despite all the comedy uncle ticks that he puts in.
For me, it really worked because he takes you on like so many different emotional rides, and every step of the way I am with him. I'm with PK. When he's like, he can't figure out why Gandhi's picture on money gets him carrots and a Gandhi poster doesn't get him carrots. I was like, I get it, right? When he has that joy where he buys his first little idol and he's just like hungry and somebody gives him a samosa, and the joy, that moment of joy that, oh my God, I can actually, God provides, the joy he gets, he plays it so well. And the frustration.
Well, I'll tell you though, that's also how I feel when I get a samosa.
And then the third one is when he's like, when he's in that little factory of idols and he's just like breaking down, like, just please help me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. That scene just like connects with me because, I mean, I think it's hard to watch this movie without asking question about your own faith, right? Where do you stand with God? Are you a complete atheist? Are you a complete believer? Where are you? And that's a question that I've struggled with a lot myself, is like, why can I not, what am I doing wrong that you're not helping me, right? And that idea, I think, that frustration of PK, because it's rising, right? Even in the song Bhagwan Kahan Hai Tu, you can see it rising where there's moments he's praying with just like tears-filled eyes, and he just cannot understand why God is not helping him. And that really connected with me. So that's why, for me, it's one of those. It veers into slapstick. It veers into feel goodness, and it like there's certain elements that don't work for me at all. Like when he's trying to cheer up Anushka with that dance that they do in their world, that didn't work for me at all. But those 4 or 5 examples I gave, they really, really hit me. They really kind of get to me. So that's why for me, this is where Aamir fanboy, you've been asking for 48 episodes, where is Asim's Aamir love coming from? These are those scenes that really work for me.
So basically, Aamir is a fanboy of this one film. Everything else is like shit.
Yeah, no, those really work for me. Those scenes really, really work for me for the way Aamir plays it. It was funny that because we saw this in cinema back in the day, right? Like there was no HD, Blu-ray, UHD, but now because you have such high quality, you can really see the things that they put behind his ears to stick them out a little, so you can really see like the makeup when they shoot him from the back. So that's kind of funny. One issue that I did have, and this was kind of in the second half a little bit, is that I feel the villain wasn't strong enough. Because I actually missed Mithun. I was like, is Mithun going to show up here? But it was all about this one, what's the actor's name? Is it something Shukla?
Saurabh Shukla.
Saurabh Shukla, right?
Saurabh Shukla, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel he was kind of a threatening enough foil for him. And especially when the showdown almost becomes like, that scene in Nayakan with Anil Kapoor and Amrish Puri where they're having this debate on television. And I think this is where also you spoke about, Amrita, you spoke about that the movie is kind of low stakes because the debate happens and Aamir, like PK is not really taking part in the debate because he's lost his friend. Like there was this bomb blast that happened, which I'd totally forgotten that there was a bomb blast in this movie. But he's lost his friend, he's holding this juti. And then he basically wins the debate because this random love story that was at the first part in the movie actually was, paid off, that Sarfaraz ne dhoka nahi diya. And that makes PK win.
But but like I have to say, like, who didn't see that coming? Anushka is the only idiot that like was like, this random kid gave me one random letter and it's like, this must be Sarfaraz. But like
Sarfaraz also read the same letter because it was gender neutral and anonymous and thought that chalo hum break up kar lete hain.
Yeah, and nobody writes. By the way, I grew up in Belgium. Nobody's writing English letters in Belgian churches. That's not happening, by the way.
And also, why is the marriage registry inside a church? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. They did look like real. Yeah. They did all look like real Belgians. They had very Belgian faces. It's not like Forgotten Army where the Japanese don't look like Japanese. Here, those people in the boat where he's singing Char Kadam and they have la 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 la. That's how Belgian people look like.
Okay. I was about to ask you on the authenticity of that.
It's very authentic. That's how Belgian people look like, and that's how they talk. I have nothing positive to say about my time growing up in Belgium, so this triggered me a lot. A lot of the being forced to be in Bruges, which is a super hardcore racist place, by the way. Like all of the political racists come out of Bruges or they come out of Antwerp in Belgium. So they if you go visit it and you're like, oh, it's such a lovely, quaint place and the chocolate and all of those people that sold you chocolates want to kill you. I'm just saying, yeah.
I remember like Asim, like I told him I was going to Bruges and he was just like, I'll tell you my opinion after you come back. Because he didn't want to like rain on my parade.
Yeah.
It was like really funny.
Yeah. So how much I care about you, Amrita. That's what it's about.
But yeah, like, what did you think about Anushka and her performance?
Okay.
I cannot say anything bad about Anushka. You guys know this. I think this was like what was weird for me, right? Is that the wig, which is like I don't know why Hirani is putting Anushka in terrible wigs in all of his movies. Like she had something terrible in Sanju, and she had weird contact lenses, and now she's this terrible wig. But I kind of got why they went for it, but that wig is terrible. But I think they wanted her to make this journalist and not. I think if she had her flowing beautiful locks, it would become a bit more distracting. I think, I don't know, like it feel like she was they were trying to get her to be a journalist, and I don't know, I feel upon the rewatch I understand the choices they made. I don't know why they chose that wig. That didn't work for me. And yeah.
So for me, it brought back memories of Preeti in what's that Hrithik Roshan film, Lakshya.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which is like, and it's like that's based on Barkha Dutt, who's like an actual journalist in India. But there's like tons of other journalists. I don't know why none of them get the shout out that Barkha does. But I guess she's like the one style icon that Bollywood can think of when it comes to journalists. But those lips, man, I just couldn't focus on anything. Like there's that point where like she and Sushant are kissing each other, and all I could see is like her giant lips, like trying to like eat him up. Like I was just like, oh girl, like I
get it. Like if I had to kiss Sushant Singh, I would need some distance. Like I would need some padding there. So I'm just going through her IMDb, right? So she had Ladies versus Ricky Bell, then she had Jab Tak Hai Jaan, then she had Matru Ki Bijli Ka Mandola. So it was not a good period for Anushka. Then she had PK, and then she started NH10, which she produced herself, and then Bombay Velvet also flopped. So this was definitely not a good time for her career-wise, right? So I think...
I'm telling you, it's the invisible hand of Aditya Chopra, like sitting in her brain saying like, you're ugly, you're ugly, you'll never make it.
Yeah, I do think that plays to that somewhere her insecurities got the best of her there. I did like that one saw in, I think it's Love is a Waste of Time, where you see her actual hair. You know, because it reminded me of that movie with Salman Khan, I think Tere Naam, where he's wearing that terrible wig and he also has the shaved off hair. But just in one shot, they show his real hair just to let people know that he still has his real hair. You know, this is what I actually look like. You know, you made me ugly for the rest of the movie, but actually I'm quite good looking. So this is the same thing with Anushka. Like, I have this hair, it's really pretty, I'm really pretty. So that was kind of good. But it's a weird choice that, I mean, I don't know if it's a brave choice, but it is a choice to have whole chunks of the movie where one of the actors is not in there, right? The first half is pretty much all Aamir, right? And you almost forget, oh yeah, Anushka is still in the movie. And then in the climax, you remember, oh yeah, Sushant Singh was in this movie too. So it is kind of like a choice to do that, you know? Center it around one.
Also, the choice to like name her Jagat Janani.
Yeah.
What is with funny names and Raju Hirani? I don't get it.
Am I remembering things skewed, or was there a feeling that Sushant Singh Rajput was like the X factor in this movie? Like when it came out, like did he get like a lot of praise for his performance?
I think this is Sushant Singh being Jeremy Renner. If you don't know the context of this, my hate going back to Jeremy Renner. Like there was a moment where Tom Cruise's career was not doing well, and they want to take away the Mission Impossible franchise for him. And they also did that with the Bourne Supremacy. And after Hurt Locker, Jeremy Renner was really being positioned in these projects as the next big thing. And I think Sushant Singh was also being positioned here as the next big thing, but that next big thing never really happened. Like it didn't happen for Jeremy Renner. So there's a connect there. I don't know. I think he probably just wanted to work with these guys on this project, and it's a weird character. I think he does okay. He's fine in it, because I don't think it would. I think it would have been distracting if they got like a really popular actor to play this role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like imagine.
Although, like what you were saying about Anushka, like it's such an Aamir show.
Yeah.
That you kind of she just sort of disappears.
Yeah.
So.
What did you think of his main villain though, like the Tapasviji kind of character? You didn't did that work for you guys? The showdown. And
I think
that?
it's like an extension of the Tapasvi or the astrologer from Lagera Ho Munna Bhai, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of an extension of that character, but more scaled up to be a mainstream guru. I mean, we know those people exist, and Saurabh Shukla did well in it, but it wasn't, again, like the stakes weren't as high. I thought that when the Tapasvi decides that, we'll take the fight to them, there will be more to it.
Yeah.
But it was just one speech, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it all came crumbling down with the Sarfaraz resolution, which was a bit.
Yeah, what did you think about the resolution? By the way, can I just say, I've been to the Pakistani embassy in Belgium. It's not as pretty as what they showed there. Like, I was like, oh my God. Like, I was watching it, I'm like, bloody hell, Pakistanis are so well spoken. Like, what am I doing? Like, I can't even pronounce Brunal. Yeah, so, and by the way, coming back, I did really like in OMG, where you have Govind Namdeo, who's playing kind of like this very vocal, threatening priest. And I felt I was missing that from Saurabh Shukla. Exactly what you mentioned, that he talks about bringing the fight to them, but it never happens. Where in OMG, there's actual physical threat to Paresh Rawal, which is actually more closer to reality, as we have seen. So... Yeah, the embassy call is weird, and it's very it's very contrived. But I feel the second half of this movie is just contrivance upon contrivance. Like this whole idea that Anushka Sharma can get like a national movement of "ye wrong number hai," just from one interview and PK. It just, this whole part about the media leading the world and actual change. It's very. It's maybe hopeful, but it's also misplaced. It's not connected with reality at all. And then if you are going in that zone, then maybe that makes sense that, he's been calling the Pakistani. Have you called any embassy, let alone the Pakistani embassy? Try calling them every morning at 9 o'clock. Like, let's see how long they answer to you, I also like when they show back Sarfaraz in Lahore. He has not changed his clothes in like 7 months. Like, he's wearing the exact same clothes. I don't know if this is a subliminal diss to Pakistanis not wearing clean clothes or something like that. But I take offense. Pehle Shraddha bana di Pakistani. Now you make Sushant Singh Pakistani. What is this, yaar?
I did like the fact that, she just sort of, in the beginning of the film, where she just sort of automatically assumes that they're all Indian. And then, and then they're sitting down and he says, I work at the Pakistani embassy. And she's like, why? And he's like, because I'm a Pakistani. Yeah. And her face immediately changes. And it's a very honest interaction, where usually people, if they come from a background that Jagu comes from, and they feel that way about Pakistanis, then they're a little bit more sophisticated about showing it, And I don't think anybody is just literally ew, main Pakistani se baat kar raha tha, and then get up and leave.
Actually, Amrita, that is very true to my experience.
People like literally get up and like.
Yeah, they do, but I don't know if it's because I'm Pakistani or it's just because of me. You.
But like, so like, I know like a lot of people like to give Hirani grief for making sort of like middle of the road cinema, and I get it. I get why they give him grief, and I agree with a lot of that criticism as well. But it's also these kinds of like moments that like really stick in your memory. You know, like the fact where she sort of comes to see throughout that song. You kind of see her being like, okay, fine. So he's a Pakistani, he's a Muslim, my family won't like him. I've been raised to like dislike him for no reason at all. And then, but like, she can't also like, she sees that they have things in common, and then, he's charming and there's all that stuff going on. And then like at the end where she says, she discovers that Aamir Khan loves her, but he's like, he lies to her. And then she says, she sort of brings the whole thing around, and she says like, one thing that we taught him was to lie.
That really, like, that was one of those ideas that really got to me too. Like, and also just the fact that the first person that PK comes across steals from him. It's just this.
Yeah.
These.
Also, as a Delhi person, it was just like the fact that it was a Rajasthani, it just like made me laugh so hard. Like, you don't even understand. Like, he meets like a naked alien meets a Rajasthani, and the first thing the Rajasthani does is like steal his like run off. Like, it just made me laugh. Like, I'd forgotten about that, but it just made me laugh. Anyway. Yeah.
No, those two ideas really stood out to me. Like that, PK says that, she assumed things about Sarfaraz because the fear had been put into her mind by Tapasvi during that Skype call. And then just that, the thing that PK learned from us is to lie. And that's what he's bringing back to his world. Those were kind of like two really things that hit me in a really good way. And I think, I agree. People say, he makes middle of the road safe movies, but I think he's very close in a way to what, Rohit Shetty is doing, but I'd rather take, misplaced good-heartedness from Hirani than, straight up fascism from Rohit Shetty, so I'd rather do this than that. So, I think, so I think we're done pretty much, right? I think let's start wrapping it up. I don't think we have anything else to say necessarily. Sujoy, you don't have anything else to add about it, or you good?
I have just one last thing, and that was I noticed this time that there is a nod to Lagan in this movie when the Tapasvi raises the stakes and says, if you can prove that Sarfaraz did not give dhoka, do you agree to this? And Aamir or PK goes, Sarat Manjoor hai in Bhuvan's accent. It was like, whoa.
Great.
That made me really smile.
Yeah.
Amrita, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at AmritaIQ.
Sujoy?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at 9E3K.
Great. I'm at Asim Bernie. You can drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. And actually, this is a movie, and I think there's a lot of different opinions. Do send us an email. I would really love to hear your thoughts about this, especially also about our points about OMG, because a lot of people were very passionate about that movie that I didn't understand. So please drop us a line at youpodcasting@gmail.com. If you want to leave us an awesome review like our listener did, or write us a sweet email, do that too. And we'll be back with another show very quickly, and thanks for listening.